This is episode number 190 of the Middle Country Public Library podcast. Hello and welcome. I'm Sal DiVincenzo, joined as usual by my fabulous colleagues, Sara and Nicole Rambo.
Hello.
How are you ladies doing this week?
Good. Oh, can you lower my mic? I actually listened to one of the episodes. I'm sorry to all the listeners. I'm screaming.
You're screaming in your ears.
What?
It's your ears.
No, I listened. No, I listened to the. I was at like my computer, and I was like, "Oh, let's listen to the John Wick one." Oh my goodness! Could one of you have told me?
I don't think you're screaming. I think you get passionate.
Screaming. As I get closer to the mic. Let me move it away.
Okay.
Screaming. I sound insane.
Right. Should we start over, or do you want to?
No. Okay. I wanted to formally apologize.
Oh, you want to formally? That's the formal apology from
I've now moved the mic away.
If you'd like to accept your apology, podcast at mcplibrary.org.
When I say, "Can you lower my headphones?" That would be like a cue, like, okay, I need to lower.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, so it's the end of September. We made it through September. We got October coming up tomorrow. Can't believe it. But it's we're quickly coming up to the end of the year. We got some great ideas for you that are coming up soon. But for today's show, why don't we start off with Nicole? What are you going to talk about?
Sure. So this week is Banned Books Week 2021, so September 26th to October 2nd. And just a little rundown of what it is. This is from the American Library Association. The Office for Intellectual Freedom put out a statement, and it's saying, during Banned Books Week, libraries, their users, and readers everywhere are invited to celebrate and exercise their freedom to read with resources and events from the ALA. Banned Books Week is an annual event that spotlights current and historical attempts to censor books in libraries and schools and brings together the entire book community in shared support of the freedom to seek and to express ideas, even ideas that contain uncomfortable truths. So, and then it goes on to say more, but that's basically what Banned Books Week is. So the top 10 most challenged books of 2020. A lot of them do happen to be YA, but this is just the top 10 most. So
are they in like ranking order or any particular order?
This, what I'm reading, looks like, I think they're ranked because I've seen several ones and they all seem to be in this order.
Okay.
Except for I'm curious to know what number one is.
Yeah. So this is, like I said, of 2020, but it could have also been banned, like challenged and banned years before. So it just keeps going. So George by Alex Gino. It's challenged, banned, and restricted for LGBTQIA plus content, conflicting with a religious viewpoint and not reflecting the values of our community. So those are some of the reasons.
Oh, okay. I see. You're saying the reasons. All right.
Like people say when they go to challenge a book.
Yeah.
Number 2 was Stamped, Racism, Anti-Racism, and You by Ibram X. Kendi and Jason Reynolds. Banned and challenged because of authors' public statements and because of claims that the book contains selective storytelling incidents and does not encompass racism against all people. Number 3 is All American Boys by Jason Reynolds and Brendan Keeley. Banned and challenged for profanity, drug use, and alcoholism, and because it was thought to promote anti-police views, contain divisive topics, and be too much of a sensitive matter right now. That's in quotes. I actually saw Brendan Keeley speak. It was very interesting.
Jason Reynolds is popular.
Yeah. Speak by Laurie Halse Anderson. So this one is pretty old.
Isn't that like mandatory reading too?
Yeah, a lot of times it is. Banned, challenged, and restricted because it was thought to contain a political viewpoint and it was claimed to be biased against male students and for the novel's inclusion of rape and profanity. Number 5, The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian by Sherman Alexie, another very popular book that's been around for a long time. Banned and challenged for profanity, sexual references, and allegations of sexual misconduct by the author. So that came like later.
Oh, by the author,
right? Yeah,
not in the actual book.
No, yeah. So then
that's interesting.
Later on, I think it's been challenged ever since it was published, and then later on, another reason was because of that that came out. Number 6 was Something Happened in Our Town, a child's story about racial injustice by Marianne Solano, Marietta Collins, and Anne Hazard, and illustrated by Jennifer Zivoyne.
Is that a children's book? I never heard of that book.
Yeah, it's a picture book. Yep. It's challenged for divisive language and because it was thought to promote anti-police views. Number 7, a classic, To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. Banned and challenged for racial slurs and their negative effect on students, featuring a white savior character and its perception of the Black experience. Number 8, another classic, Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. Banned and challenged for racial slurs and racist stereotypes and their negative effect on students. Number 9, another classic, The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. Banned and challenged because it was considered sexually explicit and depicts child sexual abuse. And number 10, The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. Challenged for profanity, and it was thought to promote an anti-police message. So these are the top 10 challenge books of 2020, and all for different reasons. You know what I mean? All have like their own sort of, some are similar and some are the same, and some actually kind of go again. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's an interesting list. And then so those all pretty much fall under the YA, except for that one picture book category. But these are some banned and challenged picture books over the years.
Ban a picture book, but okay.
In the Night Kitchen by Maurice Sendak has been challenged many times.
Why?
This unfortunately, they don't give the reasons, but yeah, I remember learning that when I was in school because we had to pick like a banned or challenge book, and someone picked that one. The Stupids series, Bumps in the Night by Harry Allard and James Marshall, and Tango Makes Three. This was a very popular one because I think it's about the two penguins. Yeah, Where the Wild Things Are, another Maurice Sendak book. Some nonfiction, asking about sex and growing up. It's So Amazing. 100 Questions and Answers About AIDS. How Babies Are Made.
That's a lot of questions for a kid. Sorry.
It's like 10 volumes.
That's why I would ban it from my life. There's a lot of questions.
The Upstairs Room. Nightmares. Oh, this is poetry. You Hear Me. How to Uncage a Girl. Where the Sidewalk Ends.
What?
I know.
Mm.
Slugs. Children's fiction. Bridge to Terabithia.
Oh.
That's so sad. Probably why.
I ban you from making me cry.
The Fighting Ground. The Devil's Storybook. The Indian in the Cupboard.
Oh.
The Adventures of Super Diaper Baby.
Sorry.
So then, and then some other high school books: Lord of the Flies, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer,
What?
The Handmaid's Tale.
Some of these I can see, but they're probably not for what I think.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, because some of them are just
Well, it's different
outdated.
it's different
Yeah.
for different people. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Catcher in the Rye, To Kill a Mockingbird.
What?
Yep. So those are just.
It's so funny. My band books would be much different.
Yeah. Which books would you ban, Sarah?
I'm not going to say because I'm, you know.
This book has too many words, not enough illustrations. That's my band. Those are my bands.
Really? No, I would ban like.
Not enough romance.
Yeah. Okay,
Need
so
more romance.
that's from the ALA, correct?
Yeah. So that was the ALA, and then the list I read was they took from ALA, but it was a lib guide out of California State University
Yeah.
that listed
Cool.
them. Yep.
All right, we'll put it in the show notes
Yeah.
so people can take a look.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you so much, Nicole. Sarah, you have a book that's very familiar to me because I've taken this book out a couple times. So you want to tell us about it?
Okay, so for those of you who have Netflix or PBS, I don't know if it's airing on PBS, or have seen this show, The Great British Bake Off is back. And I thoroughly enjoy this show for, the Britishness of it all. And I love bakery items. So, however, when I watch it, I often wonder what they're talking about.
Because they're not speaking English.
They're not speaking. It's the Queen's English.
I was just going to say, yes, it's a different type of English.
So I have.
It's very proper and,
It is.
They
so,
take the lift to go upstairs.
Right. So this is some terms that you need to know when you watch it. We do have some of the older series here that you can take out. And so when they say bakes, when they say, likes my bake, I hope Paul Hollywood likes my bake. It's just a catch-all term for any sweet or savory baked good. So when we think of like a baked item, we think, it's just, anyway.
Yeah.
So a Bakewell tart is a flaky pastry crust, layers of jam, and you took a book out, so is it frangipane? Frangipane?
I didn't get to that part.
Oh, okay. We'll just say it that way, and then if it's wrong,
I will
you
say
can-
this before you continue, because I know you're probably going to talk about this, but just there's stuff in here
Yeah.
that we don't
Ever eat?
have.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? Like
buy?
you can buy it, but it's like you have to go to some special place to get it.
Yeah.
It's like,
How about on Amazon?
It's like why sell
on Amazon?
Yeah,
why sell the book here? I mean,
okay. So they call a bread roll bap.
Oh, that's cool.
So the melons. Okay, so you can say I want a bap, and it's bread roll.
Okay.
It's also English slang for boobs. So be careful when you go to England, Sal, and you're like nice baps.
Is that why I was punched? Is that why I was punched in the face?
Let's talk about the bread roll.
So they often have a challenge with this cake, and it's called a Battenberg cake.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a sponge cake with a checkered interior, jam filling, and a marzipan coating.
That's tough.
Yeah, so that's often a hard one that they do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now the thing that always throws me is they say biscuits. You gotta make these biscuits.
That's right.
And I'm like, this is ew. Like, I think a Triscuit or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But it can be savory, but it's cookies.
Okay.
So, and often the Brits, they say biscuits and it goes to tea. So, sometimes when they say biscuits, it's like a sweet biscuit. I just want to say cookie. It's a cookie. It's a cookie.
Yeah. And they have a different word for biscuits.
Yes, they do.
Was it like digestive or something like that? Right?
Oh yeah,
it's
like the Beetawix things that they eat. Yeah.
Creme pat is short for creme patisserie or pastry cream, and it's a filling. So, like when you put in cream puffs or something, and oftentimes you don't want a runny creme pat. So,
Definitely not.
No, definitely not. Fairy cakes. So I've never heard this, but it's a British term for cupcakes that make dessert sound a lot more appealing. So it's their edition of cupcakes. I don't know.
Fairy cake.
Yeah. So the frangipane,
yes,
which I know I'm saying wrong, is a sweet pastry filling with a base of ground almonds.
Just say it with a British accent.
I can't. Frangipane? I don't even know what I'm doing. Sorry.
Yeah, frangipane is coming out.
Yeah, that's good. A Genoa sponge is a very light and airy kind of sponge cake.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Yeah.
These pictures, dude. Oh,
I know, right?
God.
The pictures in this book.
Good.
I'm gonna put the link to this book because this is a great. I had this
Yeah.
book out recently, actually.
Yeah. So a pasty is a savory pastry, usually filled with meat and or vegetables. Beef and potatoes are the most traditional, but they can have any sort of ingredients.
It's very good.
Yeah, it's the most traditional. Proofing or
I think I had
proving
one of those.
is the exact same thing as rising when you make bread.
Mm-hmm.
Pudding. Now another thing with pudding, it's not our pudding.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a term for a dessert or cake, but never a pastry.
Okay.
So it's a little different. So that's why you don't want a soggy bottom. Paul Hollywood does not like soggy bottoms, and that is when the pastry portion of a pie is underbaked. Underbaked.
You mentioned proofing. Proofing is like huge. Like this guy's they're always talking about proofing.
I know.
And he has a whole chapter on proofing.
I know.
And you can buy proofing bags. You can have like a proofing box. It's like a big
they
deal.
have a proofing tray, which is like under their ovens or something.
And it's like they say it's so important to proof your dough.
Yeah. We have tray bake, which is like they use this term a lot, and you're like, "What's a tray bake?" And it's a word that refers to any sort of brownie, dessert bar, or individually portioned rectangular cake.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So a sheet cake.
Yeah. A treacle, which is molasses or uncrystallized syrup. So it's like a treacle tot. A Victoria sponge is a layered sponge cake filled with jam and cream. Victoria sponge seems simple enough to make, but too many contestants have opened the oven before their cake was done, causing it to sink. So the book I have, actually, that Sal is probably going to take out again, is Paul Hollywood, A Baker's Life. He's one of the judges. And I thought he had a fake name, but that's his real name.
That's his real name, all right.
Yeah, it's 100 fantastic recipes. And he is a good-looking fellow with blue
nice
eyes.
That guy.
And it is... it's a book filled with sweet and savory British delights. So that I could, like, for example, on page 130, nice biscuits. And he says, I do like the classic biscuit, and this is my version of one of the best. Thin, crisp, and flavored with coconut. These delicate biscuits are perfect with a cuppa. So
yeah, I do like the way they say that. Cuppa.
Yeah.
Like a cup of tea.
It's a good time. I suggest anyone to watch The Great British Bake Off. Like I said, you can probably watch it on PBS, which is free, or come in and take out a DVD if you don't have Netflix, and catch up on some British bakeries,
Nice.
baking items, and you'll want to eat dough
Yes.
and pie and tarts.
We
and
actually have multiple books from that series because we had
Baker's
this
Life?
one. Well, we had this one. We had the Paul Hollywood Baker's Life.
Yeah.
And then I was looking for the other a British baking show series, and we didn't have them, so I ordered them. So we got 2 more in there, and I'll put them all in the show notes.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Does Mary Berry have her own?
I'm sure she does.
Yeah, they all
right?
and each one, each of them
Yeah.
has like their thing, and actually the winners
Yeah.
also they write books sometimes, and we were watching last season. When did the new season come out? Just recently, the new season.
Yeah, it just premiered,
premiered?
last week. So
Okay.
this week will be the second episode.
Yeah.
And
And truth be told, I do believe we're behind. So, like, if you don't want to be spoiled, do not do like an internet search, and you'll get the results of what the show is, because I think we're a little behind. Have you ever made an English trifle? You know, with the
with peas.
with the peas and the red onions and the beef.
Oh.
You know what's funny is that they actually now on the internet have that recipe if you want to try Rachel Green's
That's
English
disgusting.
trifle recipe. It's like whipped cream good, meat good. It's all good.
No, I've never made a trifle.
All right, so that does it for another delicious episode. And if you want to listen to older episodes or read our show notes, you can visit our website, mcplpodcast.com. Click the like button on YouTube. Click subscribe. We'd love you to listen. We're getting some really good weekly listeners on YouTube.
Oh, good.
yeah.
Well, hopefully
Yeah.
we'll have more now that I'm not screaming.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe they like that, though.
I think yes. I saw a comment. It said,
More screaming, please.
Can you make Nicole's mic louder?
yes.
Everyone,
My ears
scream.
aren't bleeding yet.
I have the podcast set to go off at 6 a.m. to wake me up, and it's Nicole.
Too much.
It's Nicole saying nope. And if you want to email us, podcast@mcplibrary.org. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know if you have an idea for a future show. So thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time. For Sara Fade and Nicole Rambo, I'm Sal DiVincenzo. We'll see you on the next show.